Business, a person's occupation, profession, or trade. Connection, a relationship in which a person or idea is linked or associated with something else. Welcome to Business Connection. Each week, our program will offer inspiration to navigate the business world. Information you can use to succeed in any field. And we will help you focus on your goals. Join us now for Business Connection with your host, B.C. Clark.
Well, hello and welcome to the Business Connection. I'm your host, B.C. Clark. As you know, I interview business owners across the state and out of state as well. Today, my guest is Sheila Byars. Now, Sheila has been in the community. She does so many things out here. Today, she's going to talk to us about her foundation as well as her business. Sheila, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy that you're here today. We keep crossing paths.
Yes.
We'll do something. Of course, you've come and spoken before at MOWPC.
Yes.
So we appreciate you. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Sheila.
Well, I'm an entrepreneur. I am the founder and president of the Byars Foundation. And basically, I've taken all of my background and has moved it into a space where I operate in purpose now. And so as I tell people, I love my life. Mm-hmm. And so my background is in computer science and finished my MBA, worked in the corporate world for years, and now I'm more in a space where I'm doing things very intentionally regarding what I believe I'm supposed to do.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Thank
I
you.
think a lot of times, we talk about it, about our purpose and making sure that we're working in that, because in that purpose is everything.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah, and so so let's talk a little bit, and I know you've had an extensive background, in the corporate America, but I know you have been working profusely in the arena of your foundation and all the wonderful things that you're doing.
Oh,
so let's talk a little bit about some of the things that your Bobby Byars Foundation, and tell us a little bit of how that got going, how that got started.
All right.
I think that's important.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, Bobby Byars was my late father, and I always start by saying I had amazing parents.
Yeah.
And so I learned a lot of life lessons as I watched them until they transitioned, and after I wanted to carry their legacy forward. So my father was one who believed in keeping a vision, folks being empowered, and he was really big on just instilling hope in the people. So I watched his model as I grew up of hiring people that were, as in quotes, unhireable, and like folks in re-entry and addicts and things. And I watched my father mentor and encourage them to move forward in life. And so that's kind of what drives me now, instilling hope, encouraging people to understand that there's always another opportunity, and just to stay focused. So.
And I always, as you're talking, what was saying to me was that, you give people hope, and that's huge.
Yes, it's
because,
really
in our community, there's a lot of people that feel like their hope is right here and they can't get past it.
Exactly.
And so to have organizations that are building in that area of offering hope is usually, is kind of everything to that person. And just letting people know that someone cares, right?
Absolutely.
And that's what I think is really important about your organization.
Thank you.
Because like you said, you've taken all of those abilities and things that you learned from your father and how he, mentored other individuals coming back in from, prison and those things, the reentry program and stuff like that. And let's face it, there's a lot of people that now, when they come back, they're just lost. And they really want to be a part of the community. They really want to, make some impact in the community because they've been away, but they don't know how to get in.
Absolutely.
So knowing that they, like your organization, the Bobby Byars Foundation, some of the services and things that they offer.
Right.
So I think that my role today is to help you get that word out so that more people know about it, right?
Yes.
And so let's talk about some of the services that you offer. And you've been doing this for a little bit, right? And I just saw you on TV not too long ago with your organization. I think you just had an annual event that you do.
Day.
Yeah, and that looked like it was extremely successful.
Well, yeah. So I mean, we our goal with that, I'll start by kind of talking about what we do overall.
Yeah, that's great.
So we focus on vision, hope, and empowerment. And to date, we've given approximately 40,000 in scholarships to individuals. We have an annual scholarship.
Love that.
We have an endowment with Metro Community College, a nursing endowment, where we are intentional about impacting the 68111, 68110 zip codes.
Yeah.
We have a scholarship with Metro that's targeted for folks in reentry that are going into masonry and construction.
Yes.
And that's just a nod to my father's legacy to help them simply
awesome.
buy tools because sometimes you just don't have the money to buy your tools.
Right.
Some of the other things we've done, we have project work, which stands for Winning Equals Opportunities, Resources, and Knowledge. And we actually, our goal is to partner with small businesses, place people with small businesses to offset their costs, but also partner with the small business to help mentor and guide those folks to help build, as we reference it, as a toolkit of skills that are needed as you move throughout your career.
journey, yeah.
So some of the skills, we focus on technology and some of the professional skills, but some of the softer skills get missed, especially if you're not in corporate spaces. So I believe in bringing that to the community, like behavioral skills and things
Yeah.
that could really trip you up in your career, even if you have the ability, if you will.
To go ahead and do that. Yes, yes, no, that's important too. And so when you look at the number of individuals that are coming, to the organization, what seems to be the highest, or I should say, what's the most impactful to them? What do they come for the most?
I believe even as and project work, we work with teens also. And so I would say that I think when the light bulb comes on and there's a safe space to have discussions and people can be vulnerable and it allows us to be transparent and me to be transparent about my journey
Yeah.
and give people a safe space to talk and dialogue and give them constructive feedback in a caring manner. I believe that's what resonates with people. And I think it's just important to just be authentic and tell our authentic stories. So
Yes.
even with our teens, we have a space where our teenagers have just discussions around just feeling isolated, and there's a lot of pressure these days, and building a network of mentors around them to help them understand and expose them to things that they wouldn't see on a day-to-day.
Yeah,
I think it's
absolutely.
exposure to exceptional people is one of the goals, community service, and building their toolkit. Those are the things we focus on.
Yeah, that's
And
important.
there's simply things either because maybe there's not resources in their home, and actually advocating for the people that are participating in our programs to get resources to help at least introduce them to different avenues so they see that there's a lot of different definitions of success.
Success there. Yeah, that's great. I think, and there's a lot of, I think, community people that really believe in the organization and feel like you guys are doing an awesome job.
Thank you. I
which is
appreciate that.
really, it's amazing. And I would
have an
say
amazing team.
there's never enough help.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
We have
So
some
I-
amazing people,
Yeah.
lots of amazing people involved that help carry the mission forward. And I'm just really grateful
Yes.
for the people who believe in what we're doing.
It's obvious because you see the results.
Thank you. I appreciate
You know, the results are, that all the mentoring and the things that you're doing, you're seeing those results. So it's and other people see them too. So it's hard for for someone not to know that this
Thank
is a
you.
good thing that's happening. The thing too, and I was gonna say, and you work primarily with youth, or you have the segments that you just talked about. It's
Right.
different ages in those groups, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I believe that, just through my life, I believe that there's never, my father would always say, God makes no mistakes. And my father would always
That's
say,
right.
you always have to keep a fresh vision. So in my experience, I believe you're not done till the coffin closes.
Right.
Period. Now that's how I live.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of times as we even mature, you realize actually that maybe you've lived your life based on someone
Someone
else's
else's-
definition.
Oh, my goodness,
And
yes.
so I believe there's always an opportunity to reset and rebuild your skills and transition into other areas.
Absolutely.
So I'm a certified life coach, and so I enjoy helping people set those goals and keeping them instilled with encouragement and keeping people accountable to help them transition to either different avenues or just seeing that there's a different way. And just because it's the end in one chapter doesn't mean that there's not another chapter.
You know, I so agree with that. I've always believed that we have different seasons in our lives.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I was telling someone not too long ago, because I grew up too in corporate America, basically, and in IT actually, and then retired, and you know, from IT. But there was always a deeper level of what was in me, and so before I retired, well, obviously I started my business before I retired. That was in 2003, and then I retired in 2005. But my call was like for women, and so I think just 3 years later, after I did a lot of research and things, I started the Metro Omaha Women's Business Center, and I always in MOWBC we used to always have story time. And it would be 3 people that could get up in there if they want to give some things in their life that they just wanted to talk about. And it was a safe space.
Right.
You know, we made sure that people knew that it was a safe space.
Right.
And whatever happened in there, I used to say, okay, now we're in Las Vegas. You know,
I get that.
So whatever happens here stays here, you know.
Yes.
And people would feel really comfortable. And it was always high energy, and I was always appreciative of the people who would get up and, you know, that had traumatic experiences and was willing and courageous enough to share.
Yes,
and I would always just applaud them and say, thank you, you know, thank you. So, you know, sometimes it would be tears, sometimes it would be different things, you know, because when you're talking about something where there was deep pain or trauma, it's, you know, to get enough courage to even be humble enough to talk about it, it takes a lot.
Exactly.
And so when they would do that, it's so important for people to be able to speak.
Yes.
You know, and so many times women don't.
Right.
You know, and so that was kind of my main thing, was helping people get past that.
Right.
You know, in the business realm, as you know, I mentor, I coach, I'm from startup to go and get it. I'm always looking in the community for people who feel like they're not worth getting into something, or they're not having a business. And people speak things that they shouldn't a lot of times, right?
Right.
You know, they'll say, I want to start a business, but I'll never be able to do that. Well, when we say that, we've already cut down.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so my voice to them is to change that.
Absolutely.
And say, I not only want to start a business, I will. Now, let me go find the tools that I need. Because that's the reason why they haven't.
That's correct.
They don't have the tools. And then a lot of times, I offer those tools. The whole time that I was, you know, working in North Omaha, you know, with the organization I just left, was to be able to be that bridge to help guide them from I want to, and give them that hope that they could.
Right.
And I think that's really important. It's what I feel like these organizations, that's what we're all doing.
I agree.
We're trying to change the way people see themselves, so that they can see themselves doing something different. And a lot of times they need to see us doing it.
That's correct.
Because I've had so many people call and said, you left that organization. I was like, yeah. You know, I said, I put my business on hold. I went there because I saw a greater need in the community. And she's like, oh, you had a business before? You know, so sometimes people don't understand all the things that you do.
Yes,
But as long as you do and he does, it's not important.
Exactly.
As long as you go and fulfill the mission that he sent you for.
That's correct.
You know?
I agree.
And I just a firm believer, if he puts you somewhere, you can't leave it like you found it.
Right. Or if he moves you on.
And and when he calls you to go to the next place, you got to go.
I agree.
It's not about what somebody thinks or anything like that. And you always want to do things in the right way. So, you know, whenever I leave, I think about it in the Bible, you don't leave something half done. You leave in a great way.
Yeah. You asked me about, if I could, you asked me about the event that we had on August 12th. And I wanted to talk about and share that with you.
Yes.
That Community Safety Day came out of losing 5 family members, right? And so, and in a very short time span, like over 10 years. Wow. And And as I learned about each person's death, they all died from avoidable deaths or preventable deaths even. And my dad would always tell me that God makes no mistakes. I think I said that before. And so just through just reflection and prayer, you know, you always have to take experiences and see what God's lesson is in it. And so through that, we built a team and developed a project called Community Safety Day. And so our whole mission in that day is to just bless the community and educate the community. And we do that through engagement and we use partnerships to increase the impact. And so this year we partnered with Metro Community College and hosted it on their campus. And I talk about that a lot because the whole goal is today is just to bless families. And we pretty much give away everything, the food, we gave away 1,000 bags this year, and each bag had a fire blanket, first aid kits, sanitizer, all type of safety type information. And we also had partners staged all throughout the space where they could just go from station to station and learn different aspects of safety. So we had the Coast Guard, Fire Department, Army Corps of Engineers, all these other organizations, and MUD, OPPD, all these organizations that have come together just to educate the community and offer things. And so it's just been very rewarding to impact the community. We had, of course, we make it family friendly with face painting and a kids zone. You gotta have a bounce house, right?
Yeah, you got
gotta have a bounce house. And so that's probably turning into our signature community service activity. And so last year we gave 700 bags. This year we gave 1,000. Hopefully we can give even more next year. And so as I talk about it, my whole goal is just to encourage people to come because there's tools in the bag. So for example, the fire blanket, a lot of families just simply aren't prepared in case even there's a small fire, it becomes catastrophic if you're underinsured or uninsured, or you don't even have a fire extinguisher in your home.
I was just going to say, even if you don't have a fire extinguisher, because I'm surprised at the number of people that
are not prepared.
And
we actually collect the data, and you can just see within the community how unprepared, not a detailed safety plan, you know, nothing. And so we gave fire blankets, first of all, because fire extinguishers expire or people forget how to use them. But a fire blanket is reusable, so it's sustainable. And you just throw the fire blanket on top of it. Could be a small fire that turns into something really big. And so even a child could use it, right? And so we taught people how to use those. And it's just really been a rewarding experience. We went to all the daycares to make sure families knew about the event and just really tried to distribute as much as we could. So that is really turned out to be a really big deal, and that is really extremely meaningful because of the cost of having family members who did not have people around them to know what to do, or they didn't know what to do, or just, you know, sometimes we're in denial and just did not address whatever the signals were, right?
I think the other thing too is that people, they don't think past where they are. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you can hear about carbon monoxide, you can hear about fires, and people say, wow, you know, they lost their house, but they don't say, wonder what they didn't do. How could we prevent us having a fire here, and what would we do if we have a fire? You know, and those things, I'm just surprised at how many fires we have. And families lose everything. And on our side, you know, for fact, something in my eyes, sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay.
But anyway, on our side, you know, we don't practice how to get out of the house. We don't have a fire extinguisher.
Plan.
Our kids, half of them don't know how to dial 911. And those are things that are so key, things that you hear it all the time. You hear 911 all the time. You know what I mean? You hear that. And I know, and sometimes in the schools, they do say some things, but you know, it's a child. They're going to forget that by the time they get home. As parents,
we have to reinforce
grandparents, because we have generational people living in the house.
That's correct.
We have to be able to understand how do we get out in the event of.
Now, what's
we
our
can't have
emergency
doors
plan?
blocked, you know, with furniture.
Exactly. So a lot of that is learned at that event. And we just have examples everywhere. And so really, it's just, we try to make it fun and engaging, but also educate at the same time. So I look forward to next year. We're already starting to work on next year's project. and we're
Well,
hoping that
include
folks,
MOWBC, include the business connection.
absolutely,
Because we would definitely love to be involved in that.
absolutely, yes.
Anytime that we can support the community, any organizations, things, that's what we want to do.
Awesome. Appreciate that.
So
Absolutely.
we really, really appreciate that. So let's talk about next steps. I know we're talking about that you're already planning for the foundation next year, and I can imagine that is to do more, to see more, to get more out to people.
Yes.
That's usually how it goes. Talk a little bit about your journey with your business.
Okay. The journey with the business is really, I have moved slow and methodical with that, right?
It's important.
And so for me, when I left the corporate world, I tell people I just knew what I didn't want anymore. And
I was too. That was me.
I just knew what I didn't want, and I think for me, you can make all the money in the world and still feel just empty. And so for me, knowing that my background was computer science and I have a business background, and I put all my talents and skills into what I do now, and I just freelanced for a while. And it's interesting because years ago, it was always my dream to do my own business, but I was so tied to the corporate world and, well, I'll say golden handcuffs, that I couldn't move past that. And so as God would have it, he put me in a space where I could kind of reflect on those dreams. And it's just been awesome to just learn and educate. And you have to be a self-starter. You have to assert yourself. And I learned a lot from even coming and engaging with you, and I continue to learn. But what my hope is that I expose the community to technology, and they see more examples of people like myself working in the technology space. And also my hope is to build a team where there are people who I can pour into, and then send them out. But they're in a space where their confidence is built up. So many times, I think in the technology arena, there's just not the support that's needed.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can say what I own my own company, so I can say what I want to say, right?
No,
So,
I understand what you're saying.
So and so a lot of times, you get discouraged.
Yeah.
And a lot of it has nothing to do with your ability.
No.
It is the culture. And so I think it's important as a business owner to create a culture for people to thrive, not just survive, and as well as help them find resources to help them build their toolkit and learn, but feel valued. So that is my goal as a business owner. So I focus on individuals. I consult with people individually, I coach, I do technology development.
Do AI
so
or any of that?
I'm sorry?
You're doing AI.
You know what? That's a space we're looking into right now. I know that is really big. So is cybersecurity and all those things.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's always about kind of seeing what's on the horizon and starting to build the skills to address it.
Right. Yeah, that's
So-
really important.
For me, I think in technology, my background was one which I was always going into spaces, understanding what the business need is, researching the technology, and coming up with a solution to fill the gaps or re-engineer processes. And so I don't get hung up on any one technology.
Oh, no, you can't.
Because the technology
it's
is
all relevant,
iterative, right? And so it's always changing and transforming. And so the hot topic might be AI this month, but it is going to morph into other things.
Yeah, it's
that
going to be
you-
AI for a long time.
for a long time, but it's going to take on different,
Yeah, it'll have
forms.
different views, looks. It'll look different, but it'll still be AI behind it. It's just a
Right.
lot of stuff. I was in
Exciting.
for Conagra Foods. I was in IT for almost 28 years, and from programming to managing software. I mean, all that. And when I first got in, it was in '77, and I was the only black person, I think, in the
Oh, yeah. Well,
in IT, and the only female
yes, of course.
doing what I did. You morph into that, and it's something that I grew in because I'm not one that would come in and just do the same job every day. I can't do
I
that.
like
I
it.
need to have fires every now and then. I need to be able to solve problems.
Yes,
I need to be able to look
problem
ahead and see what's coming and already have things designed for that. That's just who I
Yes.
am. And even when I talk with people and they're talking about the needs that they have for their business, I'm already thinking of what I can do
Yes.
to solve that problem. And so For me, technology is that, and
Yes.
in everything I do, because I'm still creating, I'm still developing. That's what I do with people.
Yes, it's
I
exciting.
not only help develop their businesses, but I help them develop as
Yes.
a business owner.
Yeah.
Those are things that are key, and I'm always looking to get back. You know what I mean? So going back to my own business was just a given.
Yes.
It was just what I need to do, go back so that my legacy can continue in Jesus' name. You understand?
Yes.
So
I do.
but it has been amazing talking to you. And we've talked a little bit, and we kept
I
trying to get
know.
together. But I understand why, because you know what? The enemy, when he sees two people that's going to get together and blow up some
Yes.
stuff, then he tries to make sure we don't have. He tries to make sure we can't get together. But whatever his thing is what's going to happen, and that's why you and I are doing this. So we will be communicating more,
I know.
helping each other's organizations and being involved more in the community, doing the things that we love doing,
Yeah.
because simply we love to do it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I agree.
And we want to see people in our community be great.
That's it.
Not worry about the nation.
That's it.
In our
That's it.
community,
Gotta
because we
start
get the
here.
community great,
That's
then we
correct.
can get everything else great. And it's up to somebody else to get the right people in the right places up there when they need to do it. But I'm excited, and I thank you so much for coming on the show
Oh, wow.
today.
Thank you.
And really just sharing with us. You have any parting words for some of our audience out there?
I would just say that, I would go back to what my parents always told me: God makes no mistakes. So whatever your current circumstance is, I think it's important to surround yourself with people who are believers and are going to be encouraging to you and pour into you and offer constructive feedback to you. And I always believe I have a personal board of directors that I surround myself with, and use that personal board of directors. And what that really means is 5 people that will keep you, 5 to whatever number you come up with, that keep you together and are willing to help you find answers or give you constructive feedback in whatever you're doing.
That's important.
So, and find a way to bless somebody else even as you progress in life. Those are
That's right.
that is the life that I want to
I
live,
think so.
actually.
I really think so. And for me, always don't spend time wasting listening or talking about someone else. Go and do you. So it's not me too, it's you do.
Right.
Okay? Let's get yourself organized. Let's find out what you need, and let's get that business started. Let's go back to school. Let's do whatever it is that we need to do. But don't sit around waiting. Go and do.
Yes.
It's waiting for you.
Right.
It can't move without you.
Right.
So find out what your purpose is and move in that direction. And other things will meet you there once you own up to that. Thanks for being here today.
Yeah, thank you. The last thing I would say is time is the only thing of value.
Time is valuable. Yes, it is. And remember, don't try to manage time, manage your tasks.
Yes.
We'll see you next time.
All right.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.